Hi, welcome to Travelogue. I'm Yanling. I'm taking you to my dream city if I'm 1,400 years younger. Camels are clustered outside of city wall, waiting to be loaded with ceramics, painting, the cassettes of silk. And the merchants inside the town get ready to bargain for the newest import, exotic spices, and Persia's fashion, and maybe Xi'an's new instrument. This is so many people's yearning center, the cosmopolitan of the Grand Tang Dynasty, Chang'an. The city that sits on the ancient site today is modern Xi'an, but let's first take a time trip back to one of its most glorious times, Tang Dynasty. Together with Athens, Rome, and Cairo, Xi'an is acclaimed as one of 4 leading and still living capitals of ancient civilizations in the world. Served as capital of 13 dynasties for a time of over a millennium, the city itself is a living museum, an open history book, an archaeologist's toyland. It was from here, in 139 BC, that envoy Zhang Qian set out on his long journey to the west that opened the Silk Road, which extended as longest during Tang Dynasty, when Chinese ancient civilization is considered which is most glorious. As a center and symbol of this glory, Chang'an magnified artists, poets, travelers, scientists, merchants, and foreign students from all over the world. Constant exposure and exchange of new ideas and concepts nurtured an unprecedentedly open and culturally tolerant city. Nothing could make a real Chang'aner easily raise his eyebrows, daring fashion, interracial marriage, or even have emperors reign the empire. It was the best of the time, and Chang'an was just the best place to be for everyone. Today's city wall was rebuilt 600 years ago based on Tang Dynasty structure. Standing at 12 meters tall, stretching over more than 13 kilometers, it's a monument of Xi'an's history itself. As the most important city fortification in ancient time, the city wall circled the entire inner city in a rectangular shape, with only 4 gates opening up in 4 directions, controlling all comings and goings. As a military fortress, top of the city wall was stationed by soldiers, and no commoners were ever allowed to be stroll around. Time has definitely changed for better in this perspective at least. Tourists are not only allowed to walk through the passage that used to be reserved only for the emperor, but also can go for an easy tour in the luxury and ease a military officer on duty would never imagine.
Oh my God! Oh, you guys are getting it cold.
Yeah. I'm not sure this.
No, this is very good.
Do you want to try it?
Really?
Yeah, It's my turn. How do you know? In the old military fortification, you can take a bike tour. This is the longest and best preserved city wall of the whole world. It's gonna be quite a tour. I would imagine most people come to Xi'an for his history park, like I do. But in the middle of the city, or more accurately on the top of it, it's hard to ignore the city's mobile energy that gestated under its ancient look, and a strong modern pulse bumping just underneath the serene setting. Today's Xi'an population exceeds 6 million. The urban planning, inherited from as early as Tang Dynasty, makes the city look more orderly than most provincial city I have ever been to. According to Chinese tradition, a drum tower and a bell tower are to be built side by side in a city center to report time. The bell is ring by dawn and the drum by dust. In ancient time, this bell was controlled by specific official reporting exact time. Today, tourists play it as a lucky charm. If you hit once, you're guaranteed happy. The second time, you're guaranteed healthy. The third time, guaranteed lifelong lucky. Okay, my life settled. Eternal happiness. Xi'an is the first city in the whole world that really has urban planning. The whole city was designed in a very orderly grade pattern. So all the main street running all street. Even today, look at this: west, east, north, and south. The grades created by streets were designed to meet at right angle, epitomizing the traditional Chinese aesthetic concept of balance and harmony. The population of Chang'an exceeded 2 million at its most prosperous in Tang Dynasty. It was the world capital of its time by any standard. For fortune, adventure, career opportunities, or just a refined lifestyle, people from all over the world flocked to Chang'an through the Silk Road. But there are also others who chose to do the opposite, leaving the city of comfort, searching for personal spiritual enlightenment. Monk Xuanzang is perhaps the most famous one among them. Tang Dynasty's culture flourishes in part has to thank to the fact that China became Buddhist learning center, and monk Xuanzang was one of the most important monk and contributor that made Chang'an the Buddhist flourished here. Monk Xuanzang, better known as a monk from Tang in folklores, was also a devoted translator and traveler in history. At the age of 28, in 627 AD, he set off alone for the quest to India, the Buddhist Holy Land. He went through more than 130 kingdoms and states on the road, learned Buddhism in India, and brought back thousands of Buddhist scriptures home to Chang'an after 18 years' journey. Upon his return, the whole country welcomed him, as if we welcome an astronaut return home from a spaceship. His journey was as difficult for his time, and definitely longer. Monk Xuanzang stayed in this Xi'an monastery for 12 years, working as abbot, translated Indian Sanskrit to Chinese. Buddhism came to China through Silk Road, actually as early as Han Dynasty, 600 years prior to Tang. As a foreign cultural import, it also went through a process of localization and eventually evolved into the national religion during Tang Dynasty. The Big Goose Pagoda is an example of this adaptation. Original Indian stupa was built in the form of square pyramid, catering to the Chinese aesthetics tradition.
Monk Xuanzang's unimaginable difficult journey to India inspired many legends in China. Even you don't know that much about him, you probably heard one of his most naughty disciples who escorted him the journey to India, Monkey King.
Like the Lion King in the West, Monkey King is loved by all in China. He's probably the most human character in Chinese mythology. The legend goes his sharp eyes can see through terrible forces of evil in every shape and size, and his brave and magic can defeat them all. Famen Temple has a reputation of being the forefather of pagodas and temples in central Shanxi province.
Most of today's China's remaining temples are from Ming and Qing dynasty, less than 600 years old. Only in Xi'an's temple, you can still find some traces of the grand Tang dynasty architecture style. And it might also strike you as they look kind of Japanese-alike. That's amazing.